Did you know why when we circumambulate, we walk from left to right? Các biết tại sao mình đi nhiều, mình đi từ tay trái qua tay phải không? Does anyone know? Little things make a big difference. Mấy cái nhỏ, chi tiết nhỏ nó có cái sự liên quan rất là quan trọng. According to the law of yin and yang, the law of nature, theo cái định luật của âm dương, định luật của tạo hóa, the going from left to right is going in the proper direction, whereas you go from right to left and going in a counter direction, going in the opposite way, okay, the contrary way. Chẳng hạn như khi mà đi mà từ tay trái qua tay phải, đó là mình đi đúng cái hướng, cái thuận hướng. Okay, this is a direction of compliance, if you will. Okay, left to right is the direction of compliance. That's why you see the clock that runs from left to right. It's clockwise. Notice, for example, when you drive, you turn left. Usually it's harder than turning right. You see that? It's right there every day you do, you don't even realize it. Going from left to right is a natural direction, is a way of compliance, direction of compliance, where you have the least resistance, where you're compliance with the law of yin and yang. Okay? Going from right to left, going the opposite natural flow of nature. That's why you encounter a lot more resistance. Okay? Little things. Okay. Same thing. All right. We hope to teach you meditation in order to help you develop tools to improve the quality of your life. Chúng tôi dạy cái vị thiền để chia sẻ những pháp môn từ xưa đến nay đó, để giúp quý vị có nhiều cái dụng cụ tốt hơn để mà có một cuộc sống thoải mái và nhiều ý muốn hơn. Okay, it's what we practice is we hope to be able to train you to get a lot more out of meditation with your meditation practice. Why? Because the more you get out of it, the quicker you get out of it, the more you do it regularly. The more you do it regularly, the greater benefits you get out of it. I tell you, for example, I cannot go through the day without meditation. I meditate every day. Our students, our trainees meditate every day. Why? Because it gives us stamina. It reduces stress. Okay, all the good things in meditation makes us healthier. All right? Our trainees here meditate 3 hours a day in the morning. That's their normal training. And that's only the starting point. Eventually, we increase it to help them speed up their skill development so that they can one day become a Chan meditation teacher as well. Okay. Nhưng mấy cái người mà sa di ở đây, thầy huấn luyện là bắt đầu có chương trình mới là bác họ mỗi ngày ngồi tọa thiền 3 tiếng đồng hồ buổi sáng. Rồi mới bước đầu thôi, từ từ sẽ dạy họ thêm những cái phương pháp khác để mà họ phát triển cái khả năng hiểu biết về thiền, cái định lực về thiền, để họ sau này có thể dạy nhiều lớp thiền. For example, hiện tại we're gonna be opening Chan meditation classes or clubs throughout the places where we can find people willing to work. Or the clubs will be like a Chan meditation club. We can start a rose meat chapter, and I fill you in with the details, basically to help people enter samadhi, reduce stress, and improve the health. All those little things. Okay, so if you have some little bit of meditation skills, okay, let me define meditation skills for you. If you really have some real significant meditation skills, then I assure you that you would decide to meditate every day without fail. Okay? Because when you stop meditating, if you fail to meditate that day, you'll feel a big difference in your daily life. Okay, you feel there's something missing, you lack stamina, you get afflicted more easily and stuff like that. Thầy nói cái vị nghe, thực tế là như vậy này. Những cái người mà thực sự hiểu, mà có một tí công phu về thiền, thì những cái người đó, mỗi ngày họ đều thiền hết. Họ không bao giờ không thiền hết. Mỗi ngày đều thiền. Tại sao như vậy? Tại khi mà họ có một thực sự mà có một tí công phu thiền rồi, thì khi thiền mỗi ngày như vậy mà không thiền, thiếu thiền một ngày, thì họ sẽ thấy cái sự thiếu thốn gì đó, thiếu thốn cái sức lực, thiếu thốn cái sự chú tâm, thiếu thốn cái tinh thần nó căng thẳng hơn, dễ phiền não hơn. Okay, and this is the bottom line. If you really have some real meditation skills, trust me, you wouldn't meditate every day. You would decide to meditate every day. It's through your own good, for your own good. Trust me. That's why you don't meditate every day yet. You need to some help. You need to persevere a little bit until you have some real meditation skills, and you see how wonderfully beneficial it is to meditate every day. Okay, it keeps the doctor away. Really, and that's my experience. I've been meditating for 20 years. Okay, and practicing meditation for 20 years, and I only had to go see a doctor once in Taiwan because I had an eye infection for some weird reasons, and so I decided to go see a doctor. The doctor gave me some medication. It helped a little bit, and I certainly remember. Wait a minute. I don't need to go see a doctor. I can fix myself. So I fixed myself. So I threw away the medicine. So anyway, so the point is that if you meditate properly, you become healthier. You don't need to. You won't have any medical problems at all. Trust me. Okay, you keep them away. Like Roberta, for example. Roberta, how long have you been meditating? 1980. So at least 20 years. My math is correct. Okay? And 30. Oh, your math is better than mine. Okay. So has your health deteriorated or has it improved?
I'm not deteriorating.
Yeah, you see? It hasn't improved. So that's the good news. You're supposed to be getting worse health-wise. Don't you think? You're like a 50-year-old young or something like that. Right? So, meditation is one thing. Meditation slows down your aging. You look younger, by the way. Okay? And I found, for example, meditation slows down the aging process. I can't prove it to you scientifically. I can tell you that most meditation teachers, they hardly age at all. They don't age at all. Okay? Those that don't want to understand a little bit about meditation. All right. Meditations also helps you understand about stillness, okay? Because you see, typically, during your waking moments, you're always in motion. Am I correct? Okay? Cái thiền giúp quý vị thấy được cái tình. Tại vì sao? Tại khi quý vị trong lúc mỗi thường ngày quý vị động, you're always constantly in motion. Right? So meditation is a time for you to still your mind and still your body. And you discover the stillness that you're capable of attaining. What's the point? What's the advantage of stillness? Tại sao quý vị là muốn thấy cái tịnh trong cái động thay vì cái động? Why is that? Ever seen a boxing match? Thấy ta đánh box chưa? Ever seen a boxing match? Anna has seen one, right? It's a very popular in Mexico City, along with bullfights, right? Bullfights, same thing, right? What happens in a boxing match or in a bullfight? Toreador, what does he do? He stands there, still, right? Cái người mà đấu bò đó, người ta làm gì? Ta lấy cái khăn đỏ ra, ta đứng trước mặt, để đứng như see, right? Is it correct, Anna? Is it close? I promise I have to go learn to bullfight one of these days. They always fascinate me. You know? I know you're not impressed. But the point is that they stand still, right? What about boxing? What does he do? What does Muhammad Ali do? No. Usually, most of the time, Muhammad Ali depends on the opponent. Muhammad Ali usually, you see, the champion, they stay in the center of the ring, and they turn. See, this is what they do. You agree there? You agree, sir? Huh? Right? You, ladies, you notice that? I know you hate those boxing matches because of the sweat and the blood and the gore and the stuff. But the point is that the guy who has the upper hand is the one who usually stands in the center of the ring, controlling the ring, okay? And all he does is goes around and faces, switches wherever his opponent dances around, he goes like this. That's all he does. Okay? It's stillness versus motion. Why is that? Because the person who is in motion is exposed. Cái người mà đang đồng đó là đang bị hở. If you're in motion, you're exposing yourself. You're out of balance. Do you remember that? Just remember that. You know, it's like the same thing like young ladies. They're vivacious and all those things, and they're smile, and they're pretty, and all those things. They're very nice, right, Joseph? But they're in motion. Okay? The more attractive ladies, in my personal opinion, Joseph, are the ones who have stayed like this. Okay? They're much more adorned. Okay? Much more attractive to me, personally. Okay? But it doesn't matter. The point here is... So funny, huh? The point here is that stillness defeats movement. Do you notice that? Even in warfare, okay, the army that attacks are usually the one who will lose most of the time. Okay, so stillness is what, the stillness is what Chan enables you to do. You learn to meditate in order to still your mind. The more still your mind becomes, the quicker, the clearer, the stronger you become. Thành ra cái thiền nó giúp quý vị lắng xuống là làm gì? Khi mình lắng xuống như vậy, quý vị rất là lẹ, nhìn rất là rõ và phản ứng rất là nhanh. Okay? You very fast when you're still. You're very fast. Much faster than a person who's going like this, because in boxing, you go like this. You're in motion. You're going like this, attacking someone. The other person, if he's still, he can see it coming a lot quicker, and he can hit you before you can hit the other person. That's why in boxing, in martial arts, my Kuksu, my Korean martial arts teacher, who is a Kuksu, very, very popular in Korea. Not as popular here. But my teacher, when he got a challenger, he goes like this. That's how he taught us. He said, go this to defend yourself, this to defend yourself. So this is all defense you do. And you know, when his challenger would come from the other dojos, they come and they ask him to do a test, he just stood there. And after a few minutes, 5-10 minutes, the other person leaves because he's too still. They didn't dare attack him. Okay? So stillness conquers, defeats movement. That's why the people who are still, who can be still, are at an advantage. Okay? Thành quý vị thấy không? Cái tình đó, nó chế cái động. Thành những cái người mà tình ở trong cái thế tình là có thể khắc phục được đối phương. Any questions about this? Yes.
So the body can be still, and the mind can be still wandering.
Yeah, the mind can be. She loves me, yeah. Okay.
When there is such a burden of thoughts after trying to keep the thoughts still or not to have any thoughts.
Very good, very good. The question again is just a translation from Anna's sake. She says, what's the difference between the body still, can your body be still, and the mind be moving? Okay, that's a good question. Okay, câu hỏi là cái thân có thể yên để cái tâm có thể động thì nó sao khác biệt chỗ nào? Okay. Can your mind stay still can your body stay still when your mind keeps on moving? Yes? Somebody says yes? You poor lady. Có người mới trả lời đó là có được. If your mind moves and your body is still, the body cannot stay still for very long. So you first make your body still, and then naturally, when your body is still long enough, your mind will still itself. Okay? Trước hết á, cái thân quý vị phải tỉnh. Khi mà thân quý vị nó tỉnh đủ lâu rồi, tự động cái tâm nó sẽ tỉnh xuống, nó sẽ lắng xuống. So that's the trick in Chan meditation. We ask you to sit there and still your body. And naturally the mind doesn't like it. It keeps on racing around. So it's used to thinking. So it keeps on thinking. So it naturally, over time, the mind will get tired and will still itself, along with the body. This is why sitting meditation is a more effective form of training in meditation. The most powerful form of training in meditation is sitting meditation.
Can there be any moments in which you're still practicing, the body is still in the leg pains and all that it's bearable, it's not as intense, but it's still the mind refuses to just settle, and that could happen to me sometimes, that I'm not able to concentrate even though the pain in the leg is gone.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more difficult to just get rid of all the thoughts or block the thoughts.
Yeah. It takes a while. Anna. It's not that fast. The mind is used to thinking all day. Anyone in the morning, you get up in the morning, you lie in bed, like me, and then you start thinking about, and then you say, the answer, and you realize, gee, it's been an hour already. Anyone, has that happened to you? Every day? Huh? Very often, right? Right? You lie there in bed and you think a little bit, oh, see what I'm going to do today, and that kind of thing. All of a sudden, it's an hour has gone by, okay? Because we are conditioned to train to think every day. As soon as we wake up, we think.
Is there any way to just
Yes. So go back to your navel. This is where your meditation training helps you stop those and slow it down to the point where you can stop it. The better, in my standard, a good meditation teacher is a teacher, and you better listen carefully, okay? You trainees, a good meditation teacher in my book, okay, is a person who is a teacher who can stop his or her mind at will. He says, stop thinking. You can't do that, can you? Can any of you do that? You thinking. He says, stop. And the mind stops. It doesn't think anymore. That's a good meditation teacher. That's someone you want to learn from. Because he or she knows how to stop the mind. This is the objective of meditation. It's to train yourself to the point, develop the skill. Develop the skill to stop your mind at will. Why is that? Why is it important? Cái người thầy mà thiền dạy thiền giỏi, đối với thầy về cái tiêu chuẩn của thầy, cái người thầy mà dạy thiền đó, mà có khả năng mà giỏi đó, bắt đầu biết dạy thiền đó, cái người mà có thể ngừng cái tâm mình được. Cái tâm mình đang suy nghĩ, một nhân nói ngừng lại ngay lập tức. Okay? Why is it important? Why is it important? Tại sao phải biết ngừng cái tâm? What's the advantage? You have real control over your own life. The reason you have no control over your life, especially your emotions, right, Roberta, is because you cannot stop your mind from thinking. For example, cái lý do tại sao quý vị muốn có cái khả năng mà ngừng cái tâm mình lại được, nó mới là thực sự có cái tự chủ. Tại sao? Tại vì quý vị nghĩ lại cho coi, cái tâm quý vị nó ngừng không được. Okay, in particular when someone, let's say, praises you or insults you, okay, you get afflicted and you can't stop thinking about it. You cannot stop your emotions, can you? You get upset or you become very happy, okay? You can't stop singing. He loves me, yeah. Okay, you can't stop smiling, okay? Or you can't stop being so unhappy, so upset. How can you have control over yourself when you're like that? Okay? Quý vị thấy khi mà quý vị bị cái phiền não nó khởi lên, chẳng hạn như người ta khen mình sung sướng, hoặc người ta mắng mình khó chịu, mình buồn rầu. Thì lúc cái tâm nó buồn rầu như vậy, nó sung sướng như vậy, quý vị có thể ngừng lại được không? Không, quý vị không ngừng lại như vậy, quý vị đang thiếu cái tự chủ, lúc đó mình rất là bị nhiều cái sơ hở. That's when you're most exposed. If you get afflicted, that's when you're most exposed. Think about it. When you get emotional, that's when your head is not clear, right? You cannot clear your head. You cannot see clearly. You cannot understand what to do. You don't know what to do. You're confused, right? If in that state of confusion, you're exposed. You're no good. I wouldn't trust you. I wouldn't trust you with my daughter. Okay? You see that? Whereas, if in the midst of being emotional here, see, Chan meditation is very practical. Let's say you're so afflicted, someone just insulted you and say, what? Okay? And you get very upset. If you remember you have some real Chan skills, at that very moment you said, stop! You're no longer afflicted. Immediately. You're no longer afflicted. Your mind clears up immediately. It's possible. This is what Chan, that's what Chan, the one of the intermediate levels of Chan is you reach level. It takes a lot of work, but it's possible. This is what I'm not saying anything new. The Chan patriarchs from China, from Asia, from Vietnam, from Japan, from Korea, they all have went through that state, and they taught each other and transmitted to each other the proper training to get there. Okay? So it's a fact of life. It's a skill that's for real, that anyone can develop. Everyone can develop if you're willing to put in the hard work. It's not easy, but it can be done. Okay? Now I sound like a salesman. Never mind. Any other questions? Yes. What? Bliss? Oh, I thought you never ask. Oh, by the way, I couldn't do any research on the internet. So will someone help me out? Ngày nay có người muốn hỏi về cái chuyện cái thiền lạc là cái gì? Để nói là tuần trước có hỏi về cái chuyện này, nhưng đều trả lời không được. Thầy phải có bỏ thời giờ để nghiên cứu cái thiền lạc trên internet, mà tuần này bận quá không có thời giờ nghiên cứu. I didn't have any time to search for internet on Bliss. Will someone help me out? Have you done your research? Quý vị đã nghiên cứu chưa? What do you know about Bliss? Yes, Sarah. What is Bliss? Diana Bliss, Chan Bliss, what's that? What is it? Anyone?
It's an utmost state of...
The word, the key word is Chan Bliss, Dhyana Bliss, meditation bliss. Any of the three names means the same thing. Chan Bliss, meditation bliss, Dhyana bliss. Ba cái chữ nó cùng một nghĩa với nhau, nó cùng nó chỉ một cái loại là thiền lạc, Dhyana tiếng Việt là gì hả? Dhyana tiếng Việt là gì? Định lạc, thiền lạc, định lạc. Okay, hai chữ đó là cùng một nghĩa. What is it? What's it referring to? Samadhi. Samadhi bliss. Okay, what is it? Yes. Calmness. All right. But can you be calm without having the bliss?
Is something beyond happiness?
Something is happy. Yeah. Yên tĩnh, sung sướng. Yes.
To know truth as truth and to know non-truth as non-truth.
To know truth as truth, to know non-truth as non-truth. You're very far away from it, my friend. Okay? It's the right direction, but not necessarily. Okay, I get to that. That's a good point. Please ask me later if I forget. See, I get older and I become very forgetful.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
I think it's when you feel complete with your own truth.
Did you hear what she just said? Translation. She just said, you feel complete with your nature. Nature. Is that okay to say that? Okay. She says, I feel complete with my nature. Cô này cô mới nói, câu rất quan trọng. Tôi thấy sung túc với cái bản tính của tôi. What does it mean? What does it mean I feel complete with my nature?
True nature is
Yes, but no. Okay, go on. You're in the right direction. Okay. This is good. This is good. Yes. What do you think she means by that? What she's describing is actually a state of bliss. She knows. So she knows what she's talking about. Okay? She found her bliss already. That's why she's describing that. She's describing her bliss. Okay? Cái cô này cô thấy được cái thiền lạc rồi, thành cô đang diễn mô tả cái thiền lạc. Cô nói là tôi thấy sung túc với cái bản tính của tôi. I feel complete in my nature. Okay? I don't know how many tacos you had to eat before you discovered that, but I meditated for years. I couldn't understand what you're talking about. Trust me. When I first started, I practiced every day for hours. I didn't know what you meant. So I should have eaten more beans. No, I'm kidding. Yes? What do you think? Yes.
Khi mình buồn hoặc là khi vui là vui, khi mình giận dữ lên thì những cái tình trạng đó mình biết, mà khi cái bliss đó thì nó khác hoàn toàn.
Okay.
Quên không gian thời gian là mình cái cảm giác vui là không đói, hoặc là mình cái tâm nó rất là nhẹ, mà hơi thở nó nhẹ, sức khỏe nó khác hoàn toàn ba cái kia.
Okay. That's a very long Vietnamese thing. I don't know how to translate it. I'm not sure I understand it either. Well, he's describing in general. He says that you're more aware of your state of affliction, whether it's unhappiness or happiness. Okay, you're more aware of that, and you feel lighter, and you feel more detached, right? And it's not the same kind of happiness that you experience, like from eating something or from receiving a car for your birthday. Never happened. Never happened to me either. That's why I wish it for the rest of the newer generation. I think it would be fair for the mother to give her daughter, her beloved daughter, a car on her 16th birthday. Yeah? Yeah? Yeah, yeah. He said, for example, suppose you receive a letter. It says you've been offered a job, okay, or you just got admitted to Harvard. Okay, Stanford is better, by the way. And you feel so happy. That happiness experience is not the same as dhyana bliss. It's not. Right? It isn't. Okay? You didn't know?
I mean, I didn't understand when I read about this, and I looked at it as lay person's beliefs.
No. You see, this is why a lot of these meditation teachers talk about dhyana bliss. Have you read anywhere at all? This is why I didn't even bother, to be honest with you. I didn't bother researching on the internet, because I know there's nothing written about it. Think about it. Have you read all the books in meditation? Anything that discusses bliss? Dissect what it really is? Has anyone? Raise your hand. I found nothing at all. I've read so many books on meditation, trust me, from different sources. There's nothing that discusses bliss. Yes, he found something here.
I do remember the Theravadan sources, they talk about specific states.
What does it say?
To it recently.
What do you remember?
Their descriptions of the first four jhanas are like, in terms of like a sense of like fullness in your body, and I don't know, there's some specific descriptions, but I haven't read it recently, but it's almost like you have just like your body's very light, and they talk about, they describe specific states like rapture and joy and equanimity.
In dhyana bliss? You're kidding me. That's incorrect. Don't read that. That's incorrect. Ông đang nói là cái sách mà ông đọc sách Nguyên Thủy nó mới nói là ông mô tả cái thiền lạc là nó có sự sung sướng, có cái sảng khoái, rồi có cái tâm bình đẳng, có là cái đó đừng có đọc sách tầm bậy. It's no such thing. Yes.
Last session, meditation last December. I was sitting over there. So hurt like hell. I often look at the watch. Went on there.
Me too.
Yeah. And suddenly it's so hot. And suddenly I go to situation, my body gone. And the guy next to me gone, the master gone, the whole here gone, the whole power.
He went crazy.
In the sand like the light. And everything about where the light there, illusion. I cannot find myself there by anyone. And all that, I don't know how long suddenly I hear about 1 hour. Very fast.
Yeah, that's dhyana bliss. Yeah, it's better than getting a new car. Trust me. Yeah, she's not listening anymore. She's, I want a car when I'm 16. Okay. And now the master gave me a suggestion. That's bliss. What is it? Then what is it? Okay. First of all, what they're talking when you talk about Chan Bliss, Samadhi Bliss, Dhyana Bliss, meditation bliss, okay? All those have the word, the qualifier is what? Chan and Samadhi, meaning you have to enter a state of mind, a certain state of mind. It's called concentration. Okay? Thứ nhất á, cái lạc này nó có thiền lạc hay là định lạc đó. Cái chữ cho quý vị thấy cái này chỉ có xảy ra khi mà quý vị nhập định thôi. You have to enter Samadhi or Dhyana for you to experience it. Okay? Is that clear? So the first thing, right off the bat, you cannot experience this unless you enter Samadhi or enter Dhyana. Alright? Thứ nhất, quý vị đó, cái chữ cho quý vị thấy, quý vị phải nhập định mới thấy được cái cảnh giới này. Okay? And then, second word is bliss. Cái chữ thứ nhì là chữ cái lạc. Lạc là gì? Bliss means feels good. Right? Cái lạc này, nó là cái sảng khoái, cái sung sướng. Okay? It has nothing to do with equanimity. Nothing to do with truth and non-truth. Not yet. Okay? In particular, when they talk about jhanas in a Hinayana, they don't know what is equanimity. Okay? It's very far away from it. Not even close. Is it clear? Quý vị biết không? Cuốn sách mà nó nói, sách mà Nguyên Thủy nó nói là cái thiền lạc này có quý vị thấy được cái tâm bình đẳng, cái tâm từ bi, cái đó là nói thiệt quý vị trong cái tứ thiền đó quý vị chưa thấy nổi đâu, còn quá thấp đi, không thể nào thấy được cái bình đẳng, không thể nào được cái thiền, không thể nào cái sự thật, không thể nào không sự. You can nói, you know, you don't need to see the truth or the non-truth. What to experience dhyana bliss, meditation bliss. It has nothing to do with it. But in some states of samadhi bliss, you will see the truth. But that's very high up there. Okay? Có những nhiều cái trình độ mà thiền định đó, quý vị có thể thấy được là rất cao thì quý vị thấy được cái sự thật, thấy được cái chân lý. Cái đó là sau này thôi. Còn lúc đầu quý vị có cái thiền lạc đều chưa thấy được nhiều, vẫn thấy có được cái thiền lạc như thế. Is it clear? So the dhyana bliss, Chan bliss, is a fact that when you enter a state of absorption, a state of concentration, you experience this good feeling. That's what the name indicates. Quý vị thấy cái chữ danh từ, cái tên cho quý vị thấy đó, là khi mà quý vị nhập cái định đó, quý vị có một cái sự sảng khoái nào đó. Alright? So far so good? Okay. When you enter the dhyana bliss, first dhyana bliss for the first time, you experience what she just described. Khi quý vị nhập cái sơ thiền lần đầu tiên á, quý vị đặt cái cảnh giới mấy cô nó mới diễn tả đó. She says, I feel complete in my nature. Tôi thấy sung túc đầy đủ trong cái bản tính tôi. What does she mean? I know she's not sure what she means. Okay, let me describe it, paraphrase, elaborate for you. Contrary to the good feeling you experience when you eat something that you like, okay, like a piece of chocolate, piece of truffle chocolate from Fashion Island. Okay? That's the best chocolate I've seen so far. Okay. Chẳng như trong khi mà quý vị tới cái chỗ đó, cái tiệm mua một cái miếng sô cô la mà ăn, thì cái sô cô la ngon làm quý vị có cái sự sung sướng. There's pleasure you experience from eating a fine piece of chocolate, right? Truffle chocolate. Ăn cái miếng đồ ăn ngon đó, mình có một cái sự sung sướng, cái sảng khoái, right? Associated with eating, right? Mình sung sướng với do từ cái miếng ăn. Or you feel happy when you see a beautiful flower, hoặc cái gì thấy cái hoa đẹp, quý vị thấy sung sướng. You feel good, right? That's associated with seeing the flower, okay? Or you feel happy when you hear a wonderful song, okay? Maybe rap music. Yuck. Okay? Hoặc là quý vị nghe nhạc mà thấy sung sướng, right? You see those, like sometimes you sit there and say sudden this refrain, this song keeps on coming in your mind, right? You can't help it, and you feel good when you keep on hearing in your ears, right? Happens to me a lot. Okay, mine is usually religious music. Okay, the point here, do you see where I'm driving at? The typical pleasure in your normal days is associated with external things. You need something else to create that good feeling inside of you, right? For Kim Dean, for example, you want to make Kim Dean happy, praise her. See? Her weakness, very weakness, okay? Praise her, and she makes her happy. You see, the happiness you experience in your daily life is associated with external things that come from the outside. You notice that? Okay? People praise you. Okay? Oh, you're so pretty today. Oh, I like your dress. Makes you feel good, right? Where did you go for your hair? Okay. That is called dependent pleasure, meaning you depend on external things for your pleasure. Whereas in the dhyana bliss, you don't need anything. You feel good within yourself. That's what she says. I feel complete within my nature. What she means, I feel complete by myself. I don't need nothing. I don't need anything underneath me. I don't need anything to cover me up. I don't need anything at all. I still feel good. Anyone has ever experienced that? Quý vị thấy cái thiền lạc cô mới mô tả này là ngồi đó bỗng nhiên sướng mà không cần gì hết đó. Không cần gì bên ngoài hết, bỗng nhiên bên trong sướng. Raise your hand. Anyone has experienced that? Yes? All hands on board, right? You all experience that. Not this young lady. Steal the car. You get the car first, and then you experience that later. You get in the car, you sit in the car, that's when you experience that. That's what you tell them. You got the point? You get the point? Okay? That is dhyana bliss right there. You get that? We agree with that. It's very clear. Until she describes that, you hear her describe that, you know she's in dhyana bliss already. You agree with that? We all experience that, right? That's a true dhyana bliss. You don't need anything, you still feel good. If the feeling good comes from, the good feeling comes from the state of concentration. It's inside. It's inside. You concentrate inside long enough, it feels good. Yes.
However, there is a point where you want to, when there is a feeling, when there is such a feeling, there is kind of an attraction to go back to it.
Yes. That state of feeling is called euphoria. Okay? It's a state euphoric. You feel euphoric. You feel good. You feel like you have so energized. You like this, you're invincible. You're unstoppable, you're irresistible, that kind of thing. You see? That comes from stillness, my dear. Doesn't come from motion. Your movement, you're dissipating yourself. You see? You're dissipating. But when you're still, you're packing until you feel the state of euphoria. That's why stillness is superior to movement. Yes.
Speaking of external, what is it called? Stimulus?
Yeah, external stimuli. Yes.
Okay. What happens when the body begins to be, when meditation, being in the process of meditating or sitting down for meditation, I had experienced some kind of irradiated warmth from my navel.
Yes.
That I kind of got scared when that happens because I had experienced it a couple of times already. But
that's weird, isn't it? Suddenly the heat it's there and keeps them expanding, right? And try.
However, it didn't take me away from keeping meditating. There was some feeling that I didn't experience before.
Yeah. It rises. Eventually you can flow. Yes. Okay? Yes, this is not the, naturally happens. But it's not bliss. No. It's not bliss. Okay? It's a state in meditation, Chan meditation you experience. Okay, so going back to the bliss. So first of all, okay, it's a state that's internal to you. You generate it yourself. You don't need anything from the outside. It feels good, it feels euphoric actually. That lasts. You stand up, it still feels good. Okay? That's a contrast to, for example, if you feel good about when you get a car, but when they take the car away from you, you don't feel that good anymore. Okay? Same thing here. Similar, but in contrast, in dhyana bliss, you feel good and you sit there. You break it up, you stand up, you walk about, you still feel good. Anyone experience that? Yes? Okay? Hours afterwards. Yes? Months? I was about to say days, but you beat me to it.
Not the same blessing, but it's the state that like teach you something and you never forget.
Yes.
You have to go back to the state.
Yes. You still remember the feeling. Okay. Very good.
When I said I need this and I need this, and I remember I said, I don't need that.
This is why it's so important for you to experience dhyana bliss. This is once you understand what it is, then it's very easy for you to get back to it. You find that it's a very wonderful state that you can generate anytime. You develop the skill to enter that state at will. And that's what your shelter is. You see, when you experience suffering during the day, you say, oh my God, this is so hard. Why is she so mean to me? Okay? It's a state of suffering. And you concentrate, you close your eyes, and you practice meditation a little bit. You enter bliss, you shield her from all the suffering around you. Okay? And then when you're in the state of bliss, something else happens. It clears your head. You see clearer. That's what he's referring to. You see non-truth as non-truth, truth as truth. That is a consequence of, it's a function of how clear your head is. At low level, the head is not that clear yet. It's still clearer than normal, but as you get higher and higher, okay, when you reach a certain height, then your head is so clear, then you begin to see the truth and the non-truth. It's all consistent. You see that? It's all the big picture. But it's by gradations. Don't be misled into thinking that you have dhyana bliss, you experience, you can see truth and non-truth. There's no such thing. You are not as confused as before, okay? At a high level, even less confused, and so on and so on. But non-truth and truth is still very far away. All right? Yes?
How do we move up the levels?
By practicing harder. One of the tenets of meditation is vigor. You practice vigorously. You keep on pushing yourself, pushing yourself, pushing yourself. That's why we tell you to sit there and bear the leg pains, because that's how you push yourself. Keep on pushing and pushing until you can't take it anymore. And you keep on pushing, that's when you break through. Okay? You reach high levels by, it's a leap. It's a discontinuous staircase. From here to the next level, you need to leap. You have to fly. Okay? Let me describe the process for you. Think of it as a stair, stepwise. Okay? If you're here at this level of concentration, okay, first of all, when you have no concentration, it's called zero concentration. You are scattered. Yeah. You're always talking. You're always moving. It's a state of scatteredness. That's how people your age usually are. I look at, they're going to high school and say, and they're so excited. It's scatteredness. It's ugliness. You know why? For us, professional, we look at her. What's so attractive about her? What do you see in her? I keep on asking my boy, I say, what do you see in her? She's so scattered. She's so unattractive. Okay? So anyway, you're always moving. It's very, very uncool to be moving so much. You need to be still. That's when you distinguish yourself from the crowd. You see that? You go to your school, everyone around you jumping on and you stand there calmly, peacefully. Who are they going to notice? You or the bunch of jumping up and down pom-pom girls? Come on, we're superior people. We're superior Dharma, okay? We need to go to lunch very soon. I need to wrap it up, okay? Let's not get sidetracked by cheerleaders. Okay, so let me say quickly. So you go to first dhyana. So it's actually from scatteredness you begin to experience a momentary stilling of your mind. That's when you leap into first dhyana. And that's when this young lady experienced. She says, wow, I feel complete myself. I feel so happy within myself. Okay? And it feels very good. It's a wonderful experience, trust me. The very first time, I still remember it. It feels so good. Okay? It feels sense not only of euphoria, but a sense of liberation. Đã không có cái sự sung sướng trong cái sơ thiền không, mà còn có cái sảng khoái không, mà còn sự bỗng nhiên có cái sự tự do. There's a certain sense of freedom you didn't have before. Yes or no? You feel liberated, you will. Okay? Like you feel unencumbered by a weight has been lifted off your shoulders. That's the feeling. If you pay attention, that's how it feels as well. Okay? I need to go to lunch, so let me wrap it up for you. You see, I can talk a lot, but when it gets near lunchtime, that's when I speed things up. I summarize for you in 2 sentences. Okay? So, the first time you make the leap into the next level, it feels incredibly wonderful. okay, than before. Okay, but it will not be that way forever. It will deteriorate. Why is that? Why is that? Because your body gets used to it. So now it's just like getting the car for the first time. Okay? It feels good. You look at it for a while, for a week, it still feels good. But the second week, can I have a different car? Can I change colors? That kind of thing. You see what I mean? It's not the same anymore. The more you look at it, the more you get used to it, it doesn't feel the same anymore. It's the same thing. The body gets used to it and is not as excited about it anymore. That's why you need to keep on working hard, leap to the next level. Then the cycle repeats itself. It feels very good the first time you leap up there, and then it stabilizes out. That's why you say, why? Well, how come I don't experience any bliss? Your bliss is not as strong as the first time you enter. That's all. It still feels complete within yourself. Okay? Feel euphoria. There's euphoria. Okay? So over time, after you leap into the next level, then it depends. Now we're talking about the depth of the dhyana, how deeply you experience that state. The deeper it is, the more bliss you experience. That's statement number 2. The nature of the bliss is a function, it depends on the depth of your samadhi. That's why we teach you to sit in full lotus, because when you sit in full lotus, your samadhi that you enter will be deeper than otherwise. Then you experience much greater bliss. Okay? Does it help? And what happened is that to give you a small advertisement, that is, when you're able to stop your mind like that, you experience the bliss is instantaneous. That's why you no longer suffer. Okay? It's a wonderful skills. In the midst of the suffering, everyone is suffering. You're suffering. Everyone is not feeling good. You stop, and all the suffering vanishes. Okay, but jhanas, it takes becoming aware that you're suffering before you can decide to stop. If you're so confused, you cannot distinguish between the suffering and you accept it as norm, like you normal people are, conditioned to accept your afflictions, your suffering as part of life. To us Chan people, it's nonsense. Why do you have to suffer? Please tell me that. Okay? Because when you live in a car and you feel good, it's a form of suffering for Chan. Why? Because you're dependent on the car now to feel good. It's suffering. It's dependency. It's suffering. Can you see that? So when you get a car, give it to the temple. Then you feel better right away. Okay, let's go to lunch. Thank you.